What's happening?
You know,
Uh,
the world.
Did you ever eat tamales while you were in
I
Arizona?
never got a taste for tamales. Everyone else loved them, but I there was something about buying something on the side of the road from some undocumented Mexican. I was never into it.
Then you're gonna love this. So today I had to go to Home Depot, so I avoid driving at all costs. So I convinced my son to go wherever I go, and he's basically my Uber driver. In fact, I'll be sitting right
Give him
next to him. I'll
star
text him. I'll
ratings.
be like, driver, can you pull up the car? He'll be sitting right next to me, and I'll look. Yeah, when I get home, I'll text 2 stars,
Yeah.
2 stars. But I have him take me to Home Depot. We walk into Home Depot. We see this lady on the way out. I'm kind of like making eye contact with her. She's like, "Tamales?" So I'm like, "Nah." So I keep walking. Then I stop Logan. I was like, I'm sorry. I have to." So then Logan's like, "Whatever." And normally I have one of those credit card wallets that's like holds like one card and my driver's license, and I'll have a 20 in there just for tamale times.
Yeah.
And so I didn't look at it, but I pull out my 20 and I walk up and I hand it to her. I was like, "Yeah, I'll get some tamales." And she's like, "Oh, okay, it's over here in my car." So then I end up walking like 4 lanes over to get to her car, which my son was looking for me in the car, assumed I was kidnapped. But I find her and she's like, so do you want pork or chicken? I was like, just pork. Pork would be great. So she's like, okay. And then she's putting them in and she's like, "Well, how many do you want?" I was like, as many as that'll get. And she's like, "Well, I can I throw in some chicken jalapeno as well?" I'm like, "Okay, sure. I mean, I'll take whatever I get." And then I noticed I gave her 100.
Yeah. I
So
can see that coming.
I walked out with a I walked out with a gigantic bag. And by then I already told her, so I didn't want to say, "Oh wait, I gave you 100. I didn't want to say it. So I came home with a monstrous bag. Like she was done for the day. It was in her entire container. I think I bought $30 worth of tamales for $100. I have this gigantic bag of tamales.
You
So,
should have just helped her
so yeah,
start
it's
up at
pretty good.
a legit company, bro.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That's about the
They
price of a
weren't they weren't
business
amazing tamales.
registration.
They were okay.
How much does it cost to register a
Yeah.
business in Austin?
I don't know what it is in Austin. In Texas, though, it's cheap to register a business, but it's expensive to keep it going on an ongoing
Yeah.
basis. Because they say there's no income tax, but they have what they call the franchise tax here. And the franchise tax, I think it's a minimum of $450 a year. So yeah. Although if Logan was teasing, like she's probably gonna follow you home because I mean she'll try to get your order every single time. So just 4 Saturdays, and I would pay for her license. That's fair.
She's
So
like, this guy doesn't know the difference between a 20 and an 100.
serious, serious. The look in her face, she was kind of you know out there. But after I saw what I gave her, I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense.
But
Yes.
you couldn't admit your mistake, so you went home with 2 bags of
No.
tamales.
Well, it's not just that I was gonna admit, couldn't admit my mistake, but I did tell her at that point, whatever this will get me, yeah, keep it. So
Smooth.
I didn't want to go and be like, "Oh, wait a minute, I didn't realize I gave you 100. It was 20." So I was trying to backstep. So yeah. Yeah, that's a tax on me. I call that the tamale tax, and it happens often. So
Yeah, I think there's lessons to be learned from that. I'm not sure if you'll learn them.
no, no, that's my version of my ICE deployment that's going around the country right now, like in LA. I go with tamale money.
Mm.
They go with guns. See, it's two different versions. We'll see what happens. She probably got enough to go home. See,
So we,
it's
we do
okay.
sausage sizzles here.
I remember.
Yeah, I love those. Like I'll pretend to go shopping just so I can go get a sausage sizzle. And it's like Americans just don't know what it is because our sausages are like not like a hot dog, right? It's like and it's not like a breakfast sausage. It's more like something you'd find in New York, I think. And then it's just on a piece of
Mm.
bread with barbecue sauce and onions. It's perfect. Simplicity is key.
And I'm sure. You go to the grocery store and it's like you buy the same thing
Oh, you
constantly
can,
each time
yeah,
for the
what
same.
you
So you
pay.
probably have a ton of detergent like sitting on the side where you always buy detergent for the sausage sizzle.
Yeah, I go to the returns desk
Yeah.
a lot.
Do you?
No, I don't. That was a bad
I
joke.
find it yeah, I find it hard to return
Oh, I don't
anything.
want to deal
It's
with humans
builds
at
up
all
and
if I
builds
don't
up.
have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I take it to Goodwill is basically what happens. I'm like, forget it. So yeah.
Yeah, we have curb pickup here. We're
For
fancy. So
for
if you don't want something, you just
salvos?
throw it on the curb here. And
Wait, do you have to put it on the curb and write like $10 and then it
uh,
disappears, or you put it on the curb and you can like text
no,
the salvos and they come and get it?
no. So there's like either if someone doesn't see value in it and want it, then the council actually does pick it up. So yeah, it's a pretty nice
Oh.
council here.
Oh, but that's how often? How often?
Oh yeah, I think what you just
Anytime?
need to tell them that you've got something out the front that you want to
Oh man.
donate, get rid of.
Do you ever wake up and somebody has slipped you out to the curb and you're
Yeah, my bed's out there on the curb.
yeah, you're like what the Welcome to the conversation where we unpack the wild, interconnected chaos shaping the world, including the population's decline and all the reasons for it. I think we have a lot to talk about today, given what has been going on. So there's the Musk and Trump schism. I think this is fair to be called now. This is
I
going to
think
go
it's the
down in
breakup,
history
isn't
as
it?
the.
Like they were in love. I remember multiple times them both saying how much they loved each other. I think they were sharing a kid for a few weeks.
That was just last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
sharing.
So
Yeah.
it's sad that they're breaking up. And then I'm wondering who is going to get custody of Joe Rogan now.
Yeah, you definitely know which kids are gonna go with who. So, well, there's Sachs. Who's gonna get Sachs? Who's gonna get Rogan? And who's gonna get what's his name? Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
I think Tucker Carlson goes with Trump, of course, but Sachs and Rogan go with Elon. So,
It's going to be interesting. Well, it
so
is interesting already. So yeah, I think we've been predicting something like this coming for a while. I think a lot of people have been predicting the Trump Musk breakup, but I don't think anyone could have imagined the fashion or style. And I think like most people,
or how
yeah,
fast?
yeah, like most people, you're all off with Twitter for a minute and you come back and the most
It's on
the
fire.
most famous relation, like the most famous love affair in history is over.
It does make it interesting because they each have 300 million followers. And these are both people who have no filter.
Yeah,
So it is kind of fun because at first I'm like, oh well, Musk left, the White House. He got a key to the White House. He left, so I'm like, I don't know. Do we really believe this is happening? It could just be to get liberals to buy Teslas again.
yeah,
So I did
100%.
think
Yeah,
that
like it,
un-
and it could.
until the Epstein messaged, then I'm like, okay, this is real.
Well, that's it's like you've got a teenager, right? And it's like we see this a lot in modern contemporary history with teenagers using social media to attack each other and get quite bitter, maybe even throw some secrets or gossip in there. And that's kind of we're used to that, but we're not used to the leader of the free world and the world's richest man doing that. And so that's the
Well, we are used to them both doing it, just
no
not at each other right
sure
now
sure
because they do it all the time.
sure
Both of them are like nonstop.
corrected
I don't even know how they have time. Yeah.
corrected.
Do you think? How much do you think Musk did play in getting Trump elected?
Oh, I think he was huge. I think he was instrumental. Like, I think he was Trump 2.0. Trump didn't run on the same, he wasn't running with the same people. And he came with a much more, like the way he's been able to take control during his second term has been way more effective than the kind of traction and control he was able to get in his first term. And that's because he's
In
done
the first
deals
time,
with
yeah.
people. And those deals are why we are seeing all of these, um, questionable and hypocrisy from even the Trump, close circle. That there's a lot of mixed messages coming out. I mean, with the Epstein list coming back into the attention of everybody, you've got Pam, the Attorney General, saying one thing, and then Kash Patel, I think it must have been an emergency podcast with Joe Rogan, trying to do
It
damage
was
control, and I don't think he did any damage
damage
control at
control.
all. If anything, he's added
No,
more questions and more
he
confusion.
split it more.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is everyone is hoping for these two to reconcile and get back together. I don't know how they can, considering what's been shared. That yeah, it's been fun watching all the commentators. It's been fun watching the right now for the first time in a while, having to deal with reality, and they can't, and seeing every single different influencer or podcaster coming up with their own conspiracy theory about, how this is all just a play. This is 5D chess. It's been interesting for sure, and I'm exciting to go back on and see where the conversation's at.
This started, I guess, with the deficit, right?
Yes.
Musk left, and it's strange because I know we've talked about this before, but this is the Republican Conservative Party. It's strange that they do not find trying to balance the budget as a priority. And Musk has been complacent to it this whole time because he's been trying to do this Doge. But it does make some sense. He's like, listen, I'm trying to save money with Doge, and yet you all are spending. What's unique about what's going on right now? So Texas's government is set up. We mimic the U.S. government. And so it's very similar, other than the fact that Texas is on a biennium. So we do a 2-year budget, and the U.S. is on a 1-year. But the House and the Senate, Congress is in charge of the purse. So their responsibility is to create what's called concurrent resolution. So a concurrent bill means that the president can't veto it. They can pump it through with whatever they want. And they control the purse, so they set what is going to be the maximum spending level. And a lot of people many out there, including Rogan and some others, are giving flack to Musk, saying like, well, just hold on, pass this bill, because what happens after the concurrent resolution is then you take that and you separate it out into 12 subcommittees, and those subcommittees are appropriation committees, and they literally put together what is going to be the spending. So most of the time, spending cuts happen with appropriations. But we all know that if you're going to pass, this is raising the debt limit. So we as the people, I agree with Musk fighting now, because we as the people are like, listen, I don't know what you're going to spend this on. We're not going to read through every one of your appropriation bills. We really care about stopping the debt limit as a whole. And so this is where it's kind of getting dicey. And how they're passing it is also interesting, because they're using the same thing Obama used. If you remember back when Kennedy died, New York, and he got replaced by Brown. So that shifted the Democrats' control in the Senate. And so the American Care Act got passed through what is called reconciliation. So reconciliation, it limits filibuster, it limits debate to 20 hours, and you only need a majority. You don't need a supermajority. So you can pass something because you can say, oh, it's just for budgetary items in the Senate. And that is what they're choosing to do this on again. And so they're really trying to throw one under on all of us and increase the debt limit. So I kind of agree with Musk. Like, if you're going to have a fight for the people as far as how much we're spending, do it now, because this bill does add $3 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years. And we're scheduled to run a 2.5 deficit this year. So, it makes sense to kind of go at this, and he's been doing Doge. So he's already trying to win this. Where do you see, because so many people have jumped to the Trump ticket. They say, I'm MAGA all the way, MAGA all the way. But these are people who are supposed to be conservative.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't seem to make sense to me.
I don't think MAGA is all the way in. I think that's how it's trying to be sold, and that's why, the influencers are definitely trying to push that. Trump's definitely trying to push that. But I think the most interesting tweet that Musk actually posted was the poll about should we have a new American party. And it was a massive
80%.
poll, and there was 80%. I wasn't surprised to see 80%.
5.3 million people, right?
Yeah, and 80%
responded.
Say yes. And so I think that Musk, and I think Middle America really I think MAGA is made up of people that want a fair go in America. and they want accountability in government. There hasn't been accountability in government for decades. And so they're screaming for this. And that's how Trump got elected. He ran that he was going to be fiscal, that there was going to be accountability, that he was going to make America great again. It was going to be easy to live in America again. You could afford homes, you could get jobs. And, that's not happening.
Well, he also got, I mean, he did run on that, but he also got 270 million from Musk alone.
Yeah, yeah.
The American PAC, which Musk was even doing like $1 million a day giveaways if you come out and vote. He literally pushed Twitter. I mean, it's one of the reasons I started to get annoyed with Twitter is I unfollowed him. I wanted his feed, and yet he would be like every second tweet. I'm like, how is this possible? And so his own platform, you were just pushing everywhere. So, I mean.
Yeah, and Republican Zuckerberg responsible for a similar function in the 2020 election. Zuckerberg, I think, spent about $500 million.
Biden.
And so, yeah, like obviously that has an impact on the election. And not just that, like you're saying, they have control of the biggest information platforms on the planet right now. They have the biggest membership pools, sharing current, information, and they control that. They can turn off a switch and they can block a conversation, or they can erase a word. So,
do you think Trump has been ungrateful?
See,
Musk tweeted about
this is why it is interesting.
The gratitude was lacking.
Actually, I think this is the first time I've seen Trump act more like a showman than he usually does. Like, he seems to be trying to act like the bigger person in this. And so it does make you wonder, really, if it is just a publicity stunt, because Musk can deal with anything like Trump can, I think. Musk has been getting smashed by the media for this and that. And so I think he can get away with a crazy tweet, maybe, and maybe this is, I could see it being strategic. I could see it being a way, obviously there's some gatekeeping going on with the Epstein list. This could be a ploy to get the Democrats demanding some transparency on the Epstein list. I personally don't believe we'll ever see anything to do with the Epstein list. I believe that Trump is definitely on it. So is most of the politicians that are household names. And I don't think we'll ever see one single name. We haven't seen one single name. And how long has it been since Epstein didn't kill himself?
Right. So then you find it interesting that Patel on Joe Rogan says it's definitely suicide.
I don't trust.
I'll be honest. I find most conspiracy theories entertaining, but not believable. However,
so you're on this one because it suits your purpose.
That is very shady. It's very shady. Yes. I'm like, I don't know. He was on suicide watch. The cameras didn't work. These guys, too many things do not sound right.
Let's take it back with Kash Patel. This is a great conversation here. Because the way he platformed to run as FBI director was saying the exact opposite things that he's saying now for the government.
Exactly.
He was attacking the government for saying...
I mean, he was the one who was saying
100%.
That Epstein was a...
And one of the craziest things, he said a lot of crazy things in the Joe Rogan episode. I encourage everyone to watch that. But the craziest thing that he said is that no matter what he does, he's not going to please anybody. And the reason why that's a crazy thing for him to say is because he hasn't done shit. The only thing he's done is made statements on the media circuit, the statement saying, oh, no, I was wrong. Epstein killed himself. Nothing else to look at. Oh, now we're going to get videos.
But he campaigned saying he's going to go please everyone. 100%. I mean, that's really why he became a popular position.
Did you see? I think it was even Glenn Beck or it was someone, and he was, trust me, bro, I've seen these files. I've seen the Epstein files. I've seen the JFK files. And all of a sudden, the Epstein files don't exist according to Kash. Everyone is doing flip-flops all the time, but his flip-flops are quite... astonishing in the amount of time it's been done. And now he is the gatekeeper that he claimed to be against.
Well, Attorney General Bondi has now said twice to all of us, so it's on video, and saying that, the reason they haven't been released is there's thousands of documents. They're being reviewed. We're going through them all. And she said there are video. And some of the video are both of video evidence of child pornography and video evidence of acting in child abuse, which was a new one to me. I thought it was all just, I mean, I know most of them were young girls, but I really don't know the extent of it. None of us really do. And so she said there are videos. There's thousands of documents they're going through, yet Patel, just on Joe Rogan, said, no, there are no videos. If there were, I would be the one to release them. And so you have this contradiction that's now happening between, you have the attorney general saying, oh, no, we'd release them except for FBI won't let us. And then the FBI is now saying, oh, they're not there. And what everybody has been saying, what the Biden administration echoed before them is actually the truth.
And so this
doesn't
is
that create a
reminiscent.
strange dynamic?
Yeah, this is reminiscent of the Biden administration with their double speaking all the time, right? So with the, and I think this is what is going to really upset MAGA soon, it is already upsetting some of MAGA, but it's going to be the thing that breaks up MAGA and Trump, is that MAGA is not going to take the gaslighting. That's why they wanted to vote for someone like Trump. That's why they wanted to. That's why they believed in his campaign, is because they thought they were getting someone who wouldn't gaslight them, who was going to be honest with them.
So by MAGA you mean, because MAGA I would really say are the Trump followers, but this is the group that is supporting MAGA,
even Trump followers,
that might break up.
Trump followers aren't who you think they are. The Trump followers were the people who were anti-vaccine. The Trump followers were people that were anti-government cover-up. The Trump followers.
You know your people.
Sorry?
I'll trust you.
And my people. I lived in America the first time he got elected, Joe.
You want to burn Fauci.
Well, no, we want to.
Those people.
We want to burn everyone in the corrupt deep state that it has an influence on every one of us around the world. And we can't do shit about it. And we're waiting for you Americans to wake up and get out of your cult mindset where you either have to be Republican or Democrat. Literally 50%. I talked to my sons about this yesterday. 50% when they go to school, 50% of the school thinks that red is the best color in the world. And that and the leader of the red, whatever he says is right, no matter what. And when he says something wrong, it's because the blue people just don't understand it because they're stupid. And then when you talk to the other half, the other 50%, they believe that the blue leader is right all the time and that he never makes a mistake and that everyone on the red party is stupid. And these people believe it with so much emotion and I don't know what the word is, but like cult mentality that they're willing to go to violence with each other. The most violent people in America right now, I'm seeing it every day. The political violence is out of control in the United States, and it's because you've got 50% of the country that belong to one cult and can't think for themselves, and you've got 50% of the people that belong to the other cult and can't think for themselves. And so when when Musk proposes a new party,
and they're all armed,
100%. And it's scary because the rest of the world, we can't do shit about it. We can't come and save you because you're all armed.
Yeah. You can't. Now you can't even bring machetes.
Oh, dude, we can't bring machetes. And unbelievably, machetes are still causing chaos in Australia. Just yesterday, we had another shopping center locked down in a major city. Somehow they've got machetes in there. I don't know how, because machetes are banned now. But somehow someone's smuggling in. Maybe we don't have a border, so it's not coming from Mexico. I don't know where all these machetes are coming from now. But it's insane to think that Australia has just passed all these laws to make us so safe from the machete bandits, and somehow machetes are still out there causing problems. It's insane. Luckily, we banned knives
the US
long ago.
We
banned knives like decades ago. I'm not sure how machetes didn't fall into the knife category. Maybe they're too big to be considered a knife.
Machete's not considered a knife.
But yeah, I think since I was like 19, it's been illegal to carry around a knife in Australia. So I don't know.
So are swords still legal?
I don't know. Maybe that's the next thing to go on the list.
They just started with the
swords
small
and spears. We're going backwards. We started with the guns, then the knives, machetes, swords, spears, then stones and slingshots.
Well, in the in the U.S. they're now using flamethrowers. So that's and Molotov cocktails, which has been an
I
old
don't
one,
know.
but a
I
flamethrower
imagine
is
that's going to
definitely
stop now. And see, this could be what what Musk's plans always was. Maybe he just wanted people to stop burning Teslas. So maybe, I think with his tweet implying that Trump is going to be on the Epstein list, I think that would be enough for the Tesla burning crowd to start wanting to buy Teslas again.
Yeah, it may be. I mean, I honestly thought it was a bit of a showmanship just to this whole, schism. However, when he said Epstein list, I'm like, that sounds like that's a shot across the bow. That's pretty
To,
serious.
to,
Because I mean, there's already lots of speculation. He didn't just say he's on the Epstein list. He sent a video from 1992 where Trump is hosting a party with Epstein, and they're both sitting around and just basically watching these young girls have a party. And you now see Epstein from a different look because Epstein's got his arms folded like this, and they're across his chest, and he looks like a dirty old man in like a strip bar. And he's just in there smiling, and Trump's right next to him, whispering in his ear. And so the lady on the interview is commentating, saying that he's saying, "Oh, she's hot, she's hot." And I don't, we don't really know what they're saying, but it definitely he led the whole interview was about how Trump was with him, and then there's even the claim he says, "Oh, he's on the flight log 7 times," which we don't know because again we don't have
well,
any of the
I,
files.
I'm hearing all of the people. This is what's funny. This is what I'm saying. It's the first time where the right have to do the mental gymnastics like the left have been doing for the last 4 years. Because a lot of the right are saying, "Oh no, we acknowledge, we know he's on the flights," and they try to explain away the relationship by Trump being allegedly banning Epstein for life from Mar-a-Lago. But what we have Trump's quotes himself from that time, vouching for Epstein and explaining that Epstein's a guy like him who likes girls like him. So there's no way around this. And yeah, I don't see how. I think the only people that so you think MAGA are people like Cat Turd, right?
Right.
Cat Turd is like a real low IQ. You know, got a lot of popularity because he shows himself as a devout Trump supporter. But he's what you would call like, I don't know, one of the craziest persons in the cult. He thinks he speaks to the same God that Trump does, and he thinks that he speaks for Trump and on behalf of all Trump supporters and all MAGA. And there's a lot of influences like that. And that's how, the media and even Trump himself spin this massive support. But really it's all hyperbole, and it's all exaggeration, and it's all lunacy. It's all delusion.
I mean, you're real. I mean, you are painting the scene that you talked about the blue and the red, and now MAGA is a different group than just blindly supporting Trump, but they wanted accountability. And if Trump is not the guy, I mean, Musk did tweet out about impeachment, which is
Well,
more than a shot across the bow. So I mean, but if they were to do impeachment, I mean, how would that go down? But what do you think it would take first to have a bigger break from MAGA and Trump?
yeah.
I'm not saying that's what's happened now.
So
They clearly are not there now.
I think Musk has hinted to this, that Musk has the upper hand. He has the upper hand because he's younger to start. He's got a lot more decades left that whether it's financial or political credit, is going to be useful. Trump is going to expire very soon. If not during his presidency, Trump is already over. And that's what MAGA's trying to work out, how to move forward.
He is impressively seems to be in good health.
Oh, yeah. He's amazing.
As much, I'm just like, if you look at it 78, I'm like, this guy is running around. I'm sort of shocked. And I also think that he did kind of help Musk. He kept him close to him. So I think my own take, I'm not a big Trump fan, as you know, but he seems to have shown gratitude, let him run Doge. I mean, the guy got access to all our, secret strategies or whatever on on just, and Doge has no authority whatsoever.
So,
So it seemed like he had gratitude, but
so if you actually think about how MAGA tried to present Trump, for example, right? Because Trump's not supposed to be the leader of MAGA; he's supposed to, represent MAGA.
all right.
But look at how he's presented as the first successful businessman to run the country instead of a seasoned politician. And then you go back to what Zuckerberg is now
Drain the
getting
swamp.
investigated for. And during the 2020 election, a lot of his interference and his support of the Biden administration was because he was making a play globally, politically. He was getting involved with the Chinese Communist Party. He was getting involved with a lot of different groups to try and position himself politically because he realized he had political power. So I believe Musk is doing a softer play at that. I think Zuckerberg burnt his shot, and Zuckerberg's not relatable. He's an alien. But Musk, yeah, I mean, he might be an alien, but he's like a different kind of alien who wants to take us to Mars. So I think Musk is going for the same kind of play. I think Musk realized with his platform, with his power and influence, he can actually be that person who he thinks MAGA needs, right?
All right. Let's take this in two directions. Yeah. Okay. Let's do one, and let's say it's all a ploy. Musk has taken a hit on his net worth, and he wants to get Tesla back, even though it's grown in value. To be honest, he just wants people to stop hating him and stop burning Teslas. Let's say that. So he and Trump are in cahoots. He says, let's not be friends for a while, and then we can come back and we'll fund some stuff. So then, how would you explain a call for impeachment, the Epstein files?
Yeah, I don't, but I don't understand all of the American political system. But from an outside perspective, this is what it looks like. It looks like this would be a ploy just to test and see, how the political pundits are going to respond, because everything's a test in the water. Like everyone knows about the Epstein list. Everyone knows about Bill Clinton. Everyone knows about Fauci. Everyone knows about all these things, but no one can do anything. No one can prosecute until the public is ready to accept something. And so I could see this easily as just being like a test. And yeah, that may be why Elon pulled it off. Like, why would Elon take down the tweet? Like, I agree with you. Like, when I first saw those tweets, I was like, there's no way you could recover this relationship. But in the world we live in, it's a 24-hour cycle. 9/11 towers could come down, Building 7 can come down. No one questions anything. We move on to the next crisis, to the next,
Well, if you remember, right at the end of last year, right after Trump got elected, before he was inaugurated, he tried to push Republicans to pass the concurrent resolution earlier, which is he tried to push to increase the debt limit and not put a cap on it. So he wanted no cap on the debt limit because when it came around this year, he never had to bring up like he was a spendthrift ever, because they would never have a dispute about the debt limit. It'd always go up and he could just pass his bill. So in this case, this could be a ploy to say, all right, Musk, you go and distract everybody, remind everyone, and then I will look presidential. I will look like the bigger one. Everybody now embraces what I'm doing, this big, beautiful bill. We get it passed, and we never have to think about this again. So this could be something just to distract us all, to make Trump not look like a crazy spendthrift, but maybe a conservative.
I think this could be it's not the sell. This is the hard close to grab that woke right and even the woke left that we were talking about.
And convince them that overspending $3 trillion is
the woke has been there already. How much the woke doesn't care what you spend money on as long as it comes in a rainbow. As long as it's wrapped in a rainbow, it doesn't matter. Send it to Afghanistan and make it about Sesame Street. Send that money. Send it. So this is how he gets the money sending from the woke left, and this is how he gets the conservative credentials from the woke right.
Right. So it convinces hardcore fiscal conservatives to have to champion and embrace an idea that is $3 trillion in excess spending.
They're pushing it hard. You see it, right? And add the Epstein in as well. That is just more mud in the water. That's more confusion for the Democrats. And now the Democrats, Democrats can't think about one thing at one time. Now they're having to think about two things at the same time.
It is kind of the bait and switch. So then let's play out the second option, and that is this is a real schism,
Yeah,
and
it could
Trump
be.
is actually acting a little presidential. And so if that is a real schism and Musk is thinking of funding a third party, libertarians have been the most active, largest third party, have never had an elected official in DC, have had a couple, one in Alaska once, and have had a couple that have been elected on local levels like city councils, which are usually nonpartisan, but they end up being partisan, but has never had anyone in DC outside of the fact of once upon a time a guy switched parties, but that was it. They didn't get elected as a libertarian. So third parties have had almost nothing. Ross Perot almost brought us the closest thing to a third party run, and due to, a weird thing with his daughter and a ransom, I mean, that was gone. So Musk, we have third party talks have come from Andrew Yang. He started the Forward Party. And then Chamath. I think Chamath is part of it. He's never openly talked about it. But Chamath and the All In podcast, that group, that's David Sachs, they definitely would, I think, end up, Trump would get them in the divorce. But Chamath has talked about this third party and how it's going to be big, which at the time when I heard, I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. I've played in third party politics for a long time. It's so difficult. People vote on these polarizing red or blue issues, as you mentioned. So for Trump to do this, he could pull it off. It takes a tremendous amount of money and effort, which he has.
What, are you saying Trump or
So
Musk?
it sounds like he's not. I apologize.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
Musk.
interchangeable,
Musk,
but yeah, Musk, right? Yeah.
right? So Musk could do this with a vast amount of money. He obviously doesn't want to do the Forward Party. He wants to start the American Party.
And isn't it the American dream
are you
right
saying,
now? Isn't it the American dream right now to have a as the president, and then that starts to take away that red-blue strength of cultism in America, because now virtually, even though their parties still, and they will be, trying to work out, they'll be forced to come up with party identity. They would be forced to come up with party identity, and they would be voting kind of almost like independents to start with. They would have to be representing their constituents. So it would be the American dream. He's got a lot to run on it. It could be a real play.
right? And he's trying to get centralist, which is interesting. But I mean, Roosevelt, not FDR, but Freddie Roosevelt before him, started a third party that tried to get some traction. It almost got some traction, called the Bull Moose Party. And he came with political clout after his presidency to try it and didn't go anywhere. So then now we have the richest man in the world trying to push it.
And
he's
an
trying to
American
win
hero.
centralists.
He saved American car manufacturing. He saved the American space program. He saved American astronauts. I mean, to be the hero of the heroes, that's pretty big. The only thing he hasn't done, and this would put him over the top of Trump any day of the week, he just needs to take a bullet. And maybe he's practicing for that. He did show up with a black eye to the White House.
Although that is strange. We still haven't figured out the black eye. That's like, when he had to, they finally sat him down and showed him, and maybe that's the Kennedy assassination from a different point of view. He's never seen.
Maybe that's why he's out. Maybe they cornered him when they had Trump's bodyguards, right? And they're like, this is it, mother effer, and then he's like, okay. And so he shows up in the White House. He's all drugged up still, because that's how they kidnapped him, right? And they beat him up. And then he gets back home to his own people, and then he's like, Trump's on the Epstein file. He is Epstein.
New York Times put him. Not New York Times. The Times put that article where they put Musk sitting behind the Oval Office desk, and that did. I mean, I think the entire world wondered how would this relationship handle this, because obviously they were implying that Musk got you elected, he's the wealth, and now you're his puppet. Although that's sort of died down over time. Now it seems more like Putin is in control of Trump, and Trump is just his puppet, and Musk. But if Musk were to run this third party, do you think he would attempt to become its first nominee?
I don't know. And so, like, because I know that as an American, or I don't know, I'm not an American, but I know that my conversation with Americans, that the first thing is going to be that that Musk is not eligible. But that's not true because Obama was president. So, even if it is in the Constitution that Musk shouldn't be president, it doesn't matter. There's a precedent. It's already happened and it can happen. You just don't need the general public to be aware of it. That's all, So,
That's funny.
and you just need to get him a
That's
birth
funny.
certificate.
When I put that
You just
question,
need to get him a birth certificate from Hawaii, and he's fine.
when I put that question together, I did not think about that one. But yes, I definitely should have known you would come up
But
with
that's
that one.
true, bro. Have you seen? I don't think they've changed it. Go today and look up the Obama PDF, like the PDF that they gave to everyone.
He has.
It is layered.
I didn't vote for Obama.
It is a Photoshop document.
I have. He clearly is an American. He has a birth certificate.
You're funny.
But who do you think he would bring in? I mean, if they ran this third party, because one of the problems that third parties have is like there's the blues and the reds. And as soon as you bring up kind of a centralist idea, one of them absorbs it and then claims it. So what if, if Musk were to go out and say, the American Party, we want a deficit, let's all get behind it. What happens if Trump just says, you're right, let's do it?
Yeah,
and maybe
exactly.
that's
what
the
I'm
plan.
saying is
Maybe
it's two markets. So I don't know. Do you use ChatGPT?
I mean, not actual ChatGPT.
Okay.
I'm more of Gemini and
so
Grok.
sometimes when I'm using a chatbot, whatever it is, sometimes, most of the time it comes at me with a certain style. But if I switch my kind of thinking, sometimes it presents me two different styles of answer.
That's because, Ethan, you're a split personality.
Yeah, sure.
So there.
What I'm saying is, I think
it's trying to talk to both.
I could see this as being a way to test the markets again, like we said in the theory one. This is multiple layers of testing to see what's going to stick, what's going to go, what's going to be popular without Trump having to commit to either. It could be that, but then back to option two, Musk taking control.
So wait, just to hit that, the first one, if it ends up being that everyone is like, yes, you need to cut the deficit, are you saying that it could be, all right, well, Trump will then say, okay, I mean, it's true, we have to cut Social Security, we have to cut Medicare, and if you all have embraced this enough, now I have the political will to do it.
I think Musk and Trump are both smart enough to know that whichever plan is going to work and have this full support of whatever they need to get moving, they can both pivot towards that. But that's the conspiracy of that. That's a hoax, right? The breakup's a hoax.
And that's the one where Trump's like a genius.
That's Trump's
and
5D
he's been
chess.
working
That's what the MAGA influence.
I've clearly found. Yeah, I've clearly found the guy's not right.
But option two, going back to Musk being the leader, this is why I know it could work, because there is no one to oppose him. There is no politician currently in any party that has, this is what I'm saying. Trump's dead. Trump is an old man. Even if he can squeeze out a third term impossibility, miracle, he's still dead. He doesn't do anything after that. Musk is still going to be around. The challenge is going to be whichever major parties still exist, if they haven't already imploded with their leader or whatever. It's going to be very hard for them to put up, an established politician or anybody in the current political landscape to go against Musk. Musk is the power. He's already been in the White House potentially, or as proxy. So look, he's got so many things to run on. I think it could be, a massive sideswipe power play that you just never see coming.
What do you think about this response from Trump saying, Musk knew all about the tax bill. Why is he freaking out now? It's only now because, we're trying to cut cost, and I'm the conservative. We have to get rid of the electric car vehicle tax.
I think it all comes back to the selling the option A, or being petty in option B, which both work, right? Trump's they're both could be petty, and
well, they both escalated it.
Yeah,
I mean, because Musk even said, well, we'll break up, forget the rocket. And then
that could be
Trump
the sell.
Tigers back is like, well, we'll cancel 32 billion of your, government contract.
That could be the sell. They might have been, trying to hit those points for everybody to show that this, we are never, ever getting back together. You know?
That should be. I wish soon because I think we have 2 listeners now. It might be your mother, so
Yeah,
it might
my
be
mum and your
the
mum,
2 of them.
they're pretty solid.
But yeah, if we get a couple more listeners, we can finally hire an editor and we can add some effects. That would have been a great time to play this song.
Yeah.
So then we can get sued for copyright. But yes, you heard it here, folks. Hostile Dysfunction, where we unpack the wild, interconnected chaos shaping our world, including the population's decline and all the reasons for it. Ethan, you want to give us our last words on
what
we should be waiting for this week?
my last thing would be like, I just have no words of advice for America. I'm sitting here scared, on the other side of the pond. And I hope, my hope would be that there could be a purple color emerge that, is less culty and is inclusive of red and blue. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon, even though, Musk presented the idea and a lot of people said that they'd be for it. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting week.
It could be the silver. It could be the silver color as all the retirees fight for Medicare and Social Security.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think there's enough political chaos in America right now. If someone works out how to snatch 60% of the population somehow, then they'll get something going for sure.
I love it. All right. I will talk to you later.
Thanks, Joe. That was